Thank you for tuning in to this transformational presentation provided by Karlene Millwood International and KarleneMillwood.com. We empower you to tap into your leadership potential and soar to new levels of greatness. We hope you'll be inspired to step into the change you need. It's your time to win. Now listen and be inspired. Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining me today for this live presentation of the essence of leadership. I wanted to do this because I've been getting a lot of questions lately on leadership, some from aspiring leaders, some from more established leaders. And there are some of you who email me and wanted to know more about my leadership program, my leadership courses. And so I decided to do this little talk tonight about leadership and introduce you to my program, introduce some of you to who I am as well. If you don't know who I am, my name is Karlene Millwood, and I am a leadership strategist and author, international keynote speaker, and also a filmmaker. So in every sphere of my life, in everything that I do, I am touching the sphere of leadership. And so I started my business, Karlene Millwood International, where I provide learning solutions for leaders and entrepreneurs. I have a leadership program that's specifically geared toward people who are interested in developing their leadership skills more. And then I have another program that is geared towards entrepreneurs. I'll talk about that a little bit more toward the end of the presentation. But tonight, I'm glad you're here. I want to talk a little bit about the essence of leadership in this, the first part of the series. And I'm going to start sharing my screen with you now. And we're just going to get right down to it, right? Excellent. So we're talking tonight about the essence of leadership. Have you ever heard the phrase, everything rises and falls on leadership? What does that mean exactly? I used to hear that word all the time, that phrase all the time, and I'm wondering, everything rises and falls on leadership. What does that mean? How can everything be dependent on leadership? Is taking a can of pop out of the fridge dependent on leadership? Taking a bath, that doesn't require leadership, does it? And paying my bills, that doesn't require leadership either. These are all common sense things that we do every day. They're no-brainers, or are they? We're going to talk about these and other aspects of leadership in this presentation, and I hope it will answer these and some of your own questions that you've been asking me regarding leadership over the last little while. Here is the paradox for you. What came first, the chicken or the egg? This was one of those prominent debate questions in high school, debate topics in high school, and surprisingly, it was also a topic when I was studying my master's in university. We had to do a paper on, are leaders born or are they made? So that's another paradoxical question, and I throw it out here to you tonight. What do you think? Are leaders born or are they made? The only difference, in my opinion, with these two paradoxes, of the chicken or the egg and leaders born or made, is that this one, the one about the leaders, I believe there is a right answer for that one. And I will show that hopefully I'll show that as we go along. Now, what do you think? I'm asking you, what do you think is the answer for that, right? I'm going to show you a few arguments in relation to these two angles, and then we'll have a discussion about it afterwards. John Maxwell, which is a well and world-renowned leadership guru, he had this to say on the topic. Leadership is not an exclusive club reserved for those who were born with it. Natural-born leaders will always emerge, but their influence hinges upon their ability to supplement inborn talent with learned skills. Ultimately, leadership is developed, not discovered. How do you feel about that? And Thomas Carlyle, in 1840, he said, to suggest that leaders do not enter the world with extraordinary endowment is to imply that people enter the world with equal abilities and with equal talents. Bridget Hyacinth is a young lady that I follow on LinkedIn. She's a LinkedIn influencer, and she writes, there are certain inborn characteristics that predispose people to be and become leaders. There is a significant difference between learning a skill and mastering one, in the same way that others are born with amazing musical gifts or athletic talents. They will excel naturally in these areas, but others would be like a fish out of water and may struggle to get to the same point. Now, of all these three arguments that I present, who do you align with more? Who do you agree with? Are you confused like Goofy here? Goofy used to be one of my favorite cartoon characters. Actually, he still is one of my favorite cartoon characters. So, you know, are you more confused now than when we started the discussion? Do you feel any closer to having the answer to this most important question? Are leaders born or are they made? All right, so, you know, our friend Goofy here may be confused, but you don't have to be. But let's explore this. Starting with a definition of leadership for you. I always start with a definition of leadership because, like I say, there are people from different levels of leadership watching. And so I like to share my personal favorite definition of leadership. And I will, you know, explain why it's my favorite. Now, Dr. Miles Monroe said this: leadership is the capacity to influence others through inspiration, generated by a passion, motivated by a vision that was birthed by a conviction and produced by a purpose. Now, the reason why it's one of my favorite definitions of leadership is because it touches on some key elements of a successful life, a successful business, and careers in whatever situation. I believe it touches every aspect of life and business in this definition. And that's why it's one of my favorite things, like passion, vision, purpose. In my honest opinion, if you're not living life with passion and if you lack purpose and vision, I guarantee you do not have and you will never accomplish much in your lifetime, right? So leadership for me, it's about inspiration. And what is it? Inspiration is the process of being stimulated to do something creative or to start something or to become something. It's the process of being stimulated. The leader is stimulating, he's inspiring, or she is inspiring you to become or to do something creative. Passion is a powerful or compelling emotion. And that, again, is something that you feel toward an individual or you feel about something in specific. Leaders are passionate about their vision. And so because of that passion, they are inspiring you to become a part of that vision and motivating you to do something creative as a part of that process. Now, vision is the ability to think about or plan the future with imagination and wisdom. I say also that vision is foresight. You're looking way down the road ahead of you at things that you would like to accomplish. You don't know exactly which time frame everything is going to work out in, but you can put some time frames around, you know, everybody has their long-term, mid-term, and short-term goals. So you can kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? You can try to figure out where each of you, the goals or the objectives on your vision is going to fit. But in any essence, you're always looking ahead. That's what vision makes you to do. Vision is your GPS that's taking you to a destination. And a good leader always follows a vision because leaders are leading you somewhere. But the question is, where are they leading you to? And they do everything they do with a firmly held belief about something, a firmly held belief or opinion about something, and that's their conviction. They are fully convicted about what they're doing. You know what? I have come across some great leaders in my life, and every single one of them, they have a conviction that you could challenge it from now into next year. They will not budge. They are so strongly committed to that thing, and they believe so strongly. They're so passionate about it that you cannot get them to move from that place. They're convicted and nothing will shake that conviction. Now, that's the kind of leader I want to be. I want to lead me, especially if they're doing and leading me to good things, because some leaders lead you to do bad things. Now, a purpose is an intention or an objective. This is your big why. Why are you doing this thing? It's the reason for which you're doing something or for creating something. And each of those talk about, this is, all of those are in that definition of leadership. And this is why I like that definition so much. It covers so many different things. Let me ask you a question. What are you passionate about? What's the thing that you are willing to die for? That's your conviction right there. What are you willing to die for? People challenge you every day about this thing. They call you names. Your life gets threatened. Are you willing to die for it? What's your conviction? What is your conviction? What inspires you? Have you figured out the vision for your purpose and your life? These are all things you need to ask yourself, especially for those who are aspiring leaders. These are some things that you already have to have implemented in your own life before you even think of stepping into the sphere of leadership to lead somebody else. For my more established leaders, I'm sure you've thought about them, and some of you have, to some degree, created your own vision, and you're following that, right? Now, a person without a vision, for me, is going nowhere. And they're wandering aimlessly because they have no purpose in life. And you may say, wow, that's a big blanket statement, but it is true. Without a vision, you do nothing, you're going nowhere. Vision takes you forward. So if you have no vision, where are you going? You're just here. You're just going around in circles, right? Your vision is like a GPS that directs you straight from point A to point B. And if you have no GPS and you set out for a destination and you have no idea, you've never been there before, you're going to get lost. So your vision keeps you focused. It keeps you centered. Now, knowing and understanding who you are helps to map out a vision and strategy for yourself so that you can lead your life in the right direction. The greatest need in the world right now is not money. Just look around you. There are many wealthy people out there who are committing suicide or are depressed. Some of them are depraved. If you read the news, you will see that for yourself. So money isn't our greatest need. The greatest need in the world right now is leadership, and great leadership at that. If I say the names Donald Trump and Jacinda Ardern, which one does your brain automatically associate with great leadership? I know which one I choose. Which one do you choose? Just take a look at what's happening around the world right now with COVID-19, and you'll notice which countries have the better leaders. Those are the ones that have the virus contained in a consistent basis. So what the world needs most above everything else is great leadership. Leadership is the one thing that is needed most in the world right now. So let's start with some leadership essentials. I realize that there are people, again, listening at all levels. So if this is basic for you, we apologize, but please show some grace to those who are new to the realm of leadership, right? What I have on the screen is the beginning of leadership. When you start to steer your life in the direction you want it to go, you're embarking on personal leadership. Your success in the realm of leadership is dependent on how well you lead yourself. Remember, leadership is personal before it becomes public. How well do you lead your affairs? Do you manage your time, your finances, your relationships and resources well? These elements, everything that I just mentioned, time, finances, resources, relationships, these elements help to form your character, which in turn defines your identity. And in essence, your leadership begins with you, the person. So if your character is such that you handle your affairs well, then when you go out to lead other people, you will handle that responsibility well. But if you're not handling your personal responsibilities well, guess what? You're just going to keep multiplying that outside. So you better get things in order. All right. So the essentials of leadership begins with who are you? That's your identity and your ability. Leadership is personal before it becomes public. I said that just before. That means you have to know yourself. Your identity has to be rock solid. And how you think is about your mentality. Your thoughts are the hidden contributor to the quality of your life. And most people are unaware of that correlation, and so allow their thoughts to run rampant. When you think chaotic thoughts, chaos shows up in your life. But when you learn to master those thoughts and harness them to think for change in your life, then things will begin to change for you. So your life is heading in the direction of your thoughts. So check those thought patterns, right? So your mentality plays a big role in learning to become self-aware and in your ability to lead. This slide shows you some different types or styles that one may use to lead their organizations. All of them are valid, and leaders will use them interchangeably or according to their personalities and core values. You have to find the right blend that works for you. I won't go into an in-depth discussion of all of them in this presentation, but suffice it to say, I dissect them meticulously in my leadership program, especially in the first 3 courses that I offer. Let's talk about the essence of true leadership. Great leaders lead according to a vision. They're taking their followers to a destination. That's why it's important to choose your leaders very carefully. I say that, I expound on that all the time when I teach or when I speak. Are they leading you to a place you want to go, or are they taking you off course? Leaders direct through influence. Their words and actions influence their followers to make decisions and take actions. When a great leader leaves a place, there is always a tangible difference. And why is that? Great leaders change their environments for the better. And their leadership, because their leadership is transformational, so things and people around them have to change. They are great communicators, and they know how to articulate their vision to you in a compelling manner to get your buy-in. When you choose to follow a leader, it's not so much the person that you're following, it's their vision. So no matter how much you think, okay, I'm going over here because, Karlene is doing this, it's not really me you're following, it's my vision. You're following what I bring to the table. You like the fruit that I'm bearing, and so you're coming after the fruit. So in all essence, thank you so much for tuning in tonight, but I know you're tuning in for the value and not necessarily for me. And that's okay. That's wonderful. That's what I want you here for. I want you here for what I'm saying. Now, is their vision in alignment with your personal, your career, or your business vision? Because if it isn't, this relationship isn't going to work. It's out of alignment. It's misaligned. So one of the things I say, you always have to find a leader, a mentor, a coach whose values are in alignment with your values. Otherwise, it's just going to be too much of a tug of war going on there, and it's not going to work out. I mentioned transformation before. Now, transformation can occur in a negative or a positive way. You want a leader who's going to bring out the best in you. That's a transformational leader of the highest order. There are some leaders who will bring out the worst in you. Okay. And if you meet up on any of those leaders, it goes without saying that you should avoid them at all costs. Any leader who encourages you to do things that are harmful or hurtful to others, you need to walk away from them immediately. Okay. Because they're trying to transform you too. And like I say, transformation happens in either the positive or the negative. And you always want to go with a leader who's transforming you for the better so that you can impact your world for the better, okay? Great leaders are also decisive. They don't make hasty decisions. But when they've made up their mind, they're clear on the direction that they're going in. Now, at times it's necessary to think on your feet and make a quick decision. However, that is the exception and not necessarily the norm. Hastily made decisions can sometimes be very costly. So make your decisions strategically. That's the best advice I could give you when it comes to decision making. And if you notice, great leaders, they take time to think about things. They seek advice from their people around them. They don't, especially if it's a massive decision that's going to impact many people, they don't just make it unilaterally. They get advice from everybody else. And these are some of the things you have to practice in your own personal life first. If you're independent minded like me, it may be one of the hardest things for you to do is to ask somebody advice on something. But you need to do that. I had to learn to do that, and I'm better for it, right? Because sometimes I'm making decisions because I have blinders on. I'm very focused when I'm doing something. And once I make up my mind, I'm gone. And there are certain things I may not have thought about. So I have people around me that I can call on and say, hey, I'm thinking of doing X, Y, Z. This is how I'm thinking of doing it. And then they will say, but what about this? Or what about that? Did you think about this? And more often than not, their input is really valuable to me in helping me to change what I had decided before and go in a different direction, which is usually the right direction. So it's very important to have advisors around you. Great leaders are also in the people development business. I always love to say that great leaders develop other leaders. Leaders are not interested in just having followers, and they don't go looking for followers either. People follow them because of the value they bring to the table. And if you do come around them and you want to follow them, they're not interested in keeping you as a follower. They're going to want to develop you to become a leader in your own right. And that's one of the things I say in my business. We are in the leadership development business because people come into my sphere. My interest is not to keep them small. It's to tap into the greatness within them, pull that out, and bring them up into their leadership. Whatever that sphere is that they're supposed to operate in. That's my primary concern. Okay, great leaders are in the people development business. They develop other leaders. They walk the talk. They have integrity. They empower and they delegate. They don't oppress and suppress. They create and they develop. They're not really into the whole copying situation. There's nothing wrong with it. Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. Because most people who do something that you do is because they see the value in what you're doing, and it's highly complimentary. They also counsel and direct. Counseling is coaching, and they direct you. They're directing you somewhere. Remember I said they're following a vision and they're taking you somewhere. So they're directing you on the path to fulfilling your own vision, right? You can follow their vision without taking away from yours. And anybody who's telling you to drop your vision to follow theirs, be very wary. That's my advice. Be very wary about that. So your vision is supposed to be in alignment with the vision of the leader that you're following, right? If not, then you may be encouraged to drop your vision. You may well do so to follow somebody else's vision while your vision dies at slow death, right? We don't want that. We want you to thrive. We want you to rise up to become the best that you can be. Now, what are the characteristics that you look for in a good leader? These are some of the ones that I look for. And, you know, this list is not by any means exhaustive, but it's a starting point. Integrity is high on my list. It may be low on the screen, but in my personal life, integrity is one of those things that's high. I'm looking for a leader with integrity. Okay. A lot of people out there are calling themselves leaders, but really what they are professional manipulators. They try to manipulate you to get you to do what they want you to do, as opposed to bringing out your own greatness and helping you on the path that you're destined for. So look out for, know the difference between a great leader and a professional manipulator. You don't want anyone who's going to be manipulating you all the time. All right. So like I said, integrity is high on my list. And what's important to you in a leader? And the question is, the things that you're looking for in your leader, do you have those very things in you, right? I always say, don't ask me to do something that you yourself are not willing to do. And if you're asking me to do something and I see that it's missing in your life, you're nothing to me but a hypocrite. So you don't want to be a hypocrite, right? Whatever you're looking for in a leader, make sure that it's present in you. And if it's not, the only time it's not supposed to be present in you, and I can't say that it will be present in you to some degree, maybe not to the level that you want it. And that's one of the reasons why you seek out that leader, to help you to strengthen that thing, to bring it to the level that you would like to operate at in it, right? Does that make sense? Of course it does. So you should not require others to do what you don't have, except if you want to develop a characteristic that you see in them and they're going to be able to help you to do it. So what's important to you in your leaders? My leaders, integrity. For me, probably the number one. Discipline, self-control, confident, and never mistake confident with cockiness. A lot of people do that. Know the difference between the two. Confidence does not mean cockiness. When a person is confident, they will carry themselves that way. But people who are less confident will always think it's cockiness. So you be careful of that as well, all right? They're humble, and humility and confidence. Sometimes some people see that as they're conflicting, but they're really not. It depends on what you think humility is. Humility does not mean that you're a doormat. Humility means that you accept everything with grace. You know you're confident, but you don't lord it over other people. That's a huge difference, okay? And self-awareness, right? Now, for me, this is one of the most important attributes or characteristics that a leader that I follow should have, and that any leader should develop within themselves. Hands down, it's your biggest secret weapon in making yourself a great leader. It's one of the most important traits that, you know, you can ever have in your arsenal. I can't stress that enough. It underlies all the others, and without it, that leader may not be able to fulfill or reach their full leadership potential. It's the essence of leadership to me, because without it, none of the other attributes matter. And as Erica Anderson shares with us here on the slide, she says, becoming truly self-aware means to cultivate on a daily basis an accurate sense of how you show up in the world and what motivates you. For instance, what are your actual strengths and weaknesses as a leader and as a person? What impact do you have on others? What do you care most about? What's your moral compass? And do you use it as a guidance system? How closely do your actions line up with your promises? When I read this slide on self-awareness, it literally encompasses everything I talked about on the 2 previous slides. Let me just backtrack up here for a minute. The essence of leadership: direction, influence, communicate, transform, decision maker, develop other people, their discipline, their self-control, confident, humble. All of it is encompassed in this phrase that she stated here. Don't you think so? And that is the reason why I say self-awareness underlies everything else that a leader does or is. So this is one of the most important things for you to develop in as a leader. Develop this first and foremost before you even think of stepping into the leadership sphere. If you're there already in the leadership sphere and you're low in self-awareness, start to develop it. Read books. Meet with a coach. If you need some help with that, call me. Join my coaching program and we'll help you to take it to the next level. All right? Very important. Now, as we talked about self-awareness, this is my most recent publication, my most recent book that dives into the attribute of self-perception. What does that have to do with anything? Self-awareness helps you to develop great self-perception that can become a really integral part of how you direct your life, of how you direct your business, of how you direct your career, your relationships, whatever it is that you're doing in life. You need self-awareness and self-perception. This book right here is based on years of study with women from a cross-cultural audience. So I interviewed different women for the information in this book. And, you know, the subjects of the research were all minority women, but it doesn't matter. Everyone can read this book and relate to the information that's in it. And I believe that it's a very important tool in the implementation of diversity, equality, and inclusion in our organizations, in our groups, and for our personal lives, right? Pick up a copy. It's available on Amazon. I would love for you to partake of the great research and the great findings that I found as a result of that research. Now, my upcoming book is my upcoming book is another leadership book, Master Your Leadership Potential. And that's also available right now just for pre-order on Amazon. So be sure to check it out. This book is my Entrepreneur Handbook. This one you can download for free from my website. Just go to www.karlenemillwood.com right there on the front page, and you can download that for free. It's for aspiring and well-established entrepreneurs. The information and the insights within it are valuable. They're priceless. So be sure to get your copy. And if you need some help in, developing your skills, if you got something from this presentation tonight, then I encourage you to join my coaching program, where I will help you turn around any situation that may be holding you back from embracing your greatness and moving into your next. Our system is well proven to bring about the transformation that you need in your life. We teach you in this program to master your biology. And we do that by deconstructing all the obstacles that may be holding you back, whether it's fear, anxieties, doubts, but we get to the bottom of it, and we break them apart, and we rebuild you in that area so that you can, move forward. And the instant result that you'll get is a boost of confidence right off the bat. Then we help you to release your inner greatness through the tools that we have to help you tap into your passion. And then we're going to test you to see what is your strongest one. If you don't already know, if you know, then you don't have to do that part of it, right? If you know it, great. But I realize that people, even people who think that they know so much about themselves, when they go through the program, they say, oh, wow, I had no idea. I didn't realize this about myself. I've learned so much more. And they discover new abilities that they didn't even know they had, isn't that fantastic? So you learn about your untapped or hidden greatness, your hidden potential that's laying dormant within you. And the third part of that is that we help you to build your own strategy for life, for business, for relationships, for your finances, whatever it is that you need that help with. We help you to build that strategy within your own vision. We help you to create your vision, and we help you to build the strategies to bring that vision to fruition. And then from there on, you just move on to live your transformed life, right? Having gone through the program, having done all the modules, there's supposed to be a difference at the end of it. And if there's no difference, it's either you didn't need the program, or we just need to take you through the program again. So there has to be some transformation at the end of it. What I find is that most people think that they don't need a coach or a mentor. I can't tell you whether you do or not, and I definitely can't force you to take me on as a coach. But what I will say is this: at some point in our lives, we are going to need a mentor or a coach. You're your greatest asset. So invest in yourself. This is what I find that most people don't want to do. They don't want to invest in themselves. They don't want to pay the money. They're looking at the money instead of the value that's coming out of the program. But you are your greatest asset. So invest in yourself. Book a free consultation at www.karlenemillwood.com. And then here's how you can keep in touch with me. These are all my social media handles. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and LinkedIn. And again, my website is www.karlenemillwood.com. I hope you got some valuable information out of this tonight. And if you want to learn more, stay tuned. Come back next week when we're going to be doing part 2 of the essence of leadership. We're going to tap into a little bit deeper. So my leaders who are more advanced will be able to probably appreciate that section a little bit more. All right. So we'll talk to you soon. Enjoy the rest of your day, your evening, your night, whenever you're watching this. And see you next week. Bye for now.